It was fate, I guess. That is one Legbeard left. Another one entered into the fray.
If she breathes, she's a
Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. I implore you, pretty please, to look it up. Today we're jumping into r/LegbeardStories. Yes, indeed, it's been just a little bit since we visited those Legbeards. I've had to save the stories up, been hoarding them away just so I can drop them on a special occasion. And what could possibly be specialer than today? Because we're all here and we're all alive together. Isn't that nice? So let's get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive headfirst into some stanky Legbeard cringe. Legbeard, the saga of Kreepy Kali. There are 3 parts to this, but big shout out to Ithillian for sharing the Legbeard sagas with me. She also wrote something about a Wiccan Legbeard, which I'm going to include that in the description if you'd like to get a little bit more Legbeard cringe bang for your buck. They are just such mysterious and not often seen creatures, so we're lucky to have an entire saga about one, and I'm excited, so let's do it. Hello again! I'll start off by saying how stoked I was to have ReddX breathe life into my first post with his superb narration. Oh, you're too kind. And I do formally apologize for taking so long to getting around to this next one. It is a long one, which I've decided to cut up into 3 parts for the sanity of both listeners and or readers. I promise not to lag on posting them. And you did not. They are all up. I am ready and prepared and perfectly willing. This particular tale occurred before my final encounter with Wicca during the weeks of summer school. It was fate, I guess. That is one Legbeard left. Another one entered into the fray. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. OP, 15 at the time, female, and no spine to find. Maya, my best friend. Eric and Sean, 2 other friends of mine. Kreepy Kali, or Leggy. Appearance-wise, she had that inner Legbeard. The place, my now nearly empty school in the hot summertime. School in the summertime?
Yeah, bitch, school in summertime. Open your fucking ears.
I'll kick this off with a quick rewind of how I ended up in summer school. If I had avoided it, I would have never met this particular Legbeard. That entails a very short story of a very strange man who happened to be my 9th grade math teacher, and it explores the reasons why I failed his class abysmally. This was also where I had first seen this Legbeard, though I didn't realize that until later. We'll call it a bonus tale. I'll refer to the teacher as Mr. F for a multitude of reasons. Mr. F had, shall we say, a unique appearance. He was supremely tall, with hunched shoulders, short black hair, and dark bags under his eyes. Every single day, he donned Velcro sandals that showed off his thick, yellow toenails. Toenails that greeted you each morning. As he stood in front of the classroom door, in place of the perfectly functioning door stopper, he leered down at every student with a toothy smile that only made him look kind of menacing, and doled out a morning greeting that sounded like it belonged in a dark alleyway. To give the clearest image of him, slap on some bolts, and you would have yourself a genuine Frankenstein, without all the extra steps or green skin. Worse than his slightly intimidating appearance, or the general unsettling atmosphere that he created, were his teaching skills. The man had one mode, and that mode was to just drone on in his monotonous sermons as if he were teaching in a graveyard instead of a classroom. Bueller. With this being my first class of the day, and still being relatively sleepy in the morning, I frequently found myself zoning out under the one-tone buzz of his voice. I would snap back out of it when he would stop and take to the floor to walk amongst the rows of his students, in action that was better than a shot of espresso straight to the brain because of the tense waiting game that would occur until he reached your row and you just had to prepare yourself for the brush of his hand over your back as he passed by, or else the gentle squeeze on your shoulder. Things that no one, not one soul, liked. That is super weird, dude. I'm sure he's doing it to just like make a connection with the students or something like that, but it's fucking weird. Needless to say, I had accepted halfway through the semester that there was no way that I was going to pass the class. I'd missed too much to catch up again, and had resigned myself to losing out on some of my summer to make up the grade, rather than just attempting to fix it now. There was one other class that I wasn't entirely happy in, grade-wise, that I could make up at the same time, and if I could put it off until later, then I would. I was a slacker at heart, after all. Well, I say, don't do tomorrow what you could do today, but also I really get being a slacker, so I can't really speak on this. It wasn't until the very last day of school that Mr. F made his grand finale of suspect behavior as his final farewell to our class. Oh boy. Those last few minutes ticked down on the clock unbearably slow. Brian, my fellow classmate, was so eager to leave that he was leaning against the door, popping it open and closed with supreme impatience. The rest of us signed each other's yearbooks and just chittered away, mostly about what we wanted to do that summer. Mr. F had taken notice of Brian and asked him to get away from the door. Well, he didn't listen to that request. And then we heard those infamous words. Mr. F, "Brian, come sit on Papa's lap." No. Why? What's happening? The talking ceased and was exchanged with a stunned silence. Brian rejected the kind offer. Fuck no. What the hell? There was a bit of awkward laughter and more than one look of, did you hear what I just heard, or am I fucking crazy, before the bell rang. Was it meant to be a bad joke? I could only hope so. For Brian's sake. What? And now that brings us to summer school. Is Brian okay? Just let me know that he's still alive. Summer, the time for fun and play. For myself and 3 of my friends, a delayed time. The unfortunate consequence of a few subpar academic achievements. I entered my summer math class and took a seat. I didn't recognize a single person there, which was a tad disappointing. That was soon to change, however, as the door opened and a girl that I vaguely recognized walked in. She was a little shorter than me, thin, and had very thick eyebrows that matched her brown hair and a mole to the lower left of her nose. She'd been in my math class with Mr. F, though I had never interacted with or spoken to her before. She looked around the room, and her eyes seemed to identify me as well because she made straight for the desk right next to mine and struck up a conversation with a simple statement. "Kreepy Kali."
You were in my math class.
She introduced herself, and I did the same. And all in all, it wasn't a bad conversation. Nothing that set off any alarms. In fact, she was downright friendly, so her request when we were let out for break seemed fairly harmless.
You mind if I hang out with you for a bit? My friends aren't here yet.
Some people, those who were only making up one class, opted for the later class of the day and showed up during this break. Oh yeah, sure. I had no problem with keeping her company until whoever it was arrived. We left the classroom together and met up at the preordained location where my friends were already gathered. I made a quick introduction after noting the slight confusion of my friends at the girl who was trailing me. OP, this is Kreepy Kali. Her friends aren't here yet, so she's just gonna hang out for a minute until they get here. Is that alright with you guys? Maya, yeah, that's fine. Hey, Kreepy Kali.
Hey, so what's your guys' names?
Maya, I'm Maya. That's Eric and Sean. Kreepy Kali,
Cool. My friend's brother is named Eric.
We continued on as normal, but Kreepy Kali's friends never showed up because she stayed with us until the break was over, and then and then we all went our separate ways to our next class. This repeated the day after that, and the day after that.
And the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
And so on. She's lying every day. Like, bro, just be real with me. You don't gotta lie to kick it, all right? My single acceptance of her request had apparently been extended to every break, which I guess wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but Kreepy Kali had started to get a little bit weird with her comments. Her favorite word to use with us was
Cool.
as in,
You guys are so cool. That's so cool. Oh my god, cool.
cool. Which she said with a strange sound of reverence in her voice that made us all uncomfortable. She also had a very distinctive laugh that sounded like a deeper version of Michael Jackson running across some hot coals.
Ooh, come on.
Is that... I can't even imagine what that's supposed to sound like. It became apparent after a couple of days that she did not have a normal sense of social etiquette. She would stand too close, stare intensely for too long, and make comments like she was starstruck by completely average conversations or stories, which then turned those conversations or stories more than slightly awkward. Her personal comments were no better, one time being, after Eric had playfully whacked my lower back with his hand, Kali chimed in with,
You can slap me too.
Okay then, I'm gonna pass. What made it more unusual was that she was going into her senior year, while all four of us were merely going into our sophomore year. None of us could fathom the cause behind her behavior, and I could see my friends tiring of her shenanigans after about 2 weeks. It's longer than I would have given her. I felt bad about it, and bad for her for their slightly off-putting attitudes that were beginning to form, although she, of course, didn't seem to notice that at all. She'd gone as far as to invite herself to join us after school as well, after having spotted us one day on our way to the lot across the street that was littered with various establishments which we frequented. We ventured into Vaughn's to buy some Arizona sweet tea, and she'd followed us in there without an actual invitation to join, but hey, it's a free country, for now. Eric and Sean headed into the men's room, and we had to stop her from following in behind them. Oh boy, Maya, you should just wait out here with us. You can't go into the men's room anyways, Kreepy Kali.
Oh, okay.
I was pretty certain that she intended to stand right outside the bathroom door, Kreepy Kali.
Who do you think has the strongest hands? Sean or Eric?
Maya and I shared a look of bewilderment. OP, I don't know. That's random. She then said something so out of the blue bizarre that I still think about it to this day. Kreepy Kali.
They're always carrying around their skateboards, huh? They're probably really good.
OP, yeah, they're pretty good, I guess. Kreepy Kali.
Maybe Eric could teach me and I could like fall on top of him. And then we could kiss.
Maya. Okay. Oh no, that would not be happening. We waited until she left for her volunteer job and then quietly debated between the two of us if we should reveal what she had said, and decided that since she might be planning some weird shit, they should probably be warned about it. Sure enough, it came to a head when a few days later, who should show up with a skateboard but Kreepy Kali? Oh, I love this. It was ignored at first until she had asked if they could
Teach her to skateboard.
Unaware that we had already spoiled her plan, Eric had replied with a flat no. And the subject was dropped. After verbally abusing each other in a friendly fashion for a few minutes, Kreepy Kali interjected again in her usual style. Kreepy Kali,
That's so funny. You guys are so cool.
oh man, the cringe was just too real. Perhaps it was the way she drug it out, or maybe it was the spooky look on her face, but my friends had had enough. I could tolerate a lot, but their breaking point had obviously been met. The bell rang, and the moment she was out of earshot, they turned on me like coyotes at nightfall. Eric, OP, you have to get rid of her. OP, what? How? Eric, just tell her to go away. OP, I can't do that. Sean, if you don't, then we will. OP, that's fucking mean. I'm not doing it. You go ahead. Maya, that is kind of mean. Alas, being an asshole was not an issue for two teenage boys. The next day, they held true to their words. Right to her face, without any hesitation. Eric, can you go away? Kreepy Kali.
Why?
Eric, we don't want to hang out with you. It did hurt me just to witness it. I mean, I felt bad for Kreepy Kali, but I couldn't force my friends to put up with her alarming comments or company, and hell, I kind of wanted her gone too. Kreepy Kali, however, was unfazed and just laughed it off. Sean, seriously, go. Kreepy Kali.
Shut up, guys.
Oh, I just love it. Oblivious beards are best beards. The only result of this confrontation was for her to speak only to Maya and myself for the rest of the break, and ignore Sean and Eric's comments that they weren't joking. It would only get worse later that day. After being let loose from the cage, we'd cross the street and were on our merry way to cut across the store parking lot and hang out at the local park for a while, when I heard the faint but growing sound of my name being called. Sean sighed. Oh God. And I knew who it was too. I glanced to the left, out of the corner of my eye, and saw her hurrying across the school's office parking lot to the sidewalk. The call grew louder until it was quite literally screams.
OP! OP!
Oh, that sight. That unwelcome picture of Kreepy Kali with her face as red as a tomato from the effort it took to scream my name as loudly as she did. Everyone looked. Everyone heard. That's some good cringe, man. The one thing we did have on our side was the fact that she couldn't run across the street. There were some extremely strict rules about jaywalking near the front of the school, and the single crosswalk was always guarded by campus security before and after school. On this particular day, it was guarded by Walrus, an extremely large but jolly man who could normally be seen zipping around on a golf cart during school hours, chasing down students attempting to sneak off campus. A walrus on a golf cart. Some good visual humor, man. I like how this OP writes. Callie's ear-splitting screams had of course drawn Walrus's eyes, and that left no way for her to catch up to us before we rounded the next corner. I didn't reply or acknowledge her calls because at this point, I just didn't want to encourage her. This must have caused her to assume that I had some hearing problems. Despite the space between us being only a 2-lane road, that did not stop her.
OP!
Being thoroughly embarrassed by the spectacle, Maya and I blocked her out by holding our binders up on the left side of our heads, and we just kept on walking. Eric snapped and screamed back across the street, "We don't like you! Leave us alone!" Now, any normal, rational human being would probably stop at this point, right? Yes, they would. But Kreepy Kali was a special kind of human.
Well, isn't that special?
She did not stop until we were completely out of her visual range. The guilt, the cringe, the awkward after effects. I dreaded the next day because I did not know what I was going to be facing in class, And I was emotionally stressed out about it all night, but Kreepy Kali just greeted me the same, as if nothing had happened at all. Oh God, denial is a hell of a drug. I half admired her tenacity, but the other half of me was afraid that there was something horribly wrong with her. I was civil and nice, but not overly encouraging in my responses to her, since I hoped to keep her from thinking that just because I was okay talking to her didn't mean that my friends would be as well. I asked her a bit about her friends and where they were, what classes they were making up, etc. I tried to keep it light and inconspicuous because I was really trying to gauge if she actually had any, since I started to wonder why she never talked about them or why they wouldn't care that she had been ditching them for us since summer school began. OP, bro. If the pieces haven't fallen into place by now. When the bell rang for break, I packed up my stuff and said, "I'll see you tomorrow," and walked ahead without her, feeling like an asshole. She trailed after me for about a minute at a sluggish pace, but was nowhere to be seen when I stopped at the newly chosen meetup spot. I did see her later on with a small group of people, and was almost unsurprised to see a few of the weird anime kids mixed into that group. It offered a small, though possibly unrelated, explanation of her behavior, and I was glad that she did in fact have people to hang out with besides us. She did attempt to follow us after school a few more times, but gave up pretty easy. I kept things casual in class, and we made it through the rest of summer school without incident. Oh, but Kreepy Kali would make her return. Yes, indeed. Greetings to ReddX and to everyone else. Enjoy the rest of your day. Oh God, it's so tasty. Maybe I should have packed the whole saga into one video. I'm super curious about what happens next. Oh, the obliviousness, the denial, the weird statements and like crafty little schemes. Oh, I'm gonna get a skateboard. And then this bitch really shows up with a skateboard. Like, that is too wild, bro. There ain't no brakes on the Legbeard train. And then we can't forget about Mr. F. I hope Mr. F makes a reappearance too. Come sit on Papa's lap. This story was just a ride, man. Just quite a cast of characters. I don't know if I can wait a full week to dive back into Kreepy Kali. A big part of me has to know what happens. We maybe wait a day or two, but I'm going to be back to this one sooner than later. And thank you so much again, Athelian, for sharing your experiences with us. Really killer stuff. Legbeard, the saga of Kreepy Kali. Part 2, the weird and the beard. Note, since it seemed that people were worried from my first post in the YouTube comments, I will say it here as well, since it's the next installment to come, and set at ease those who were concerned about Kreepy Kali having ASD. She did not. But are you sure though? Maybe she's undiagnosed. I ain't gonna get into that. Let's just enjoy the ride. Hello all. True to my word not to lag, here we are with part 2 of the Kreepy Kali saga. We left off after the encounter over summer, and as I said, Kreepy Kali would indeed make her return into my life. This time, we also have a special guest, a beard, that I would be introduced to by Kreepy Kali herself. Matrix Beard. Oh joy. Our cast, OP, the timid and tolerant, now 16 at the time of this story, female, 5'4" for reference in the story, Kreepy Kali, our socially strange inner Legbeard, and Matrix Beard, Kreepy Kali's co-worker from her volunteer job at an old folks home. Oh God, they put this Neckbeard in charge of people? That ain't gonna go well. So let's get this wagon rolling. But first, prerequisite. Summer had gone and passed, and the first half of my sophomore year of high school was, well, eventful. During the time span of just a few months, my friend group had imploded and splintered into the winds. I won't go into the minute details, but suffice to say, after certain wrongdoings here and some failed relationships there, it had just dwindled down to a group of two, Maya and myself. And then, like bad luck, or a curse from Wicca herself, came the ultimate hit to my little teenage heart. Due to some better left unsaid home events, the girl that I had been best friends with since 6th grade, the one that I was with so frequently that her grandmother insisted that I call her grandma, was now officially leaving to live with a relative that lived well out of our district. I'm not ashamed to admit that I cried a little bit when she told me. It was abrupt and quick, like ripping off a band-aid. She was gone literally within a week, and I began my short experience of social drifting. Oh, that sucks. You thought you had it all figured out. Now it's all topsy-turvy. I definitely get it. It absolutely sucks. My parents used to move like every 2 or 3 years, and I have no idea why, even to this day. But I did learn to make friends fast, you know? Hardship can be a good thing, after all. Sometimes. So, during this time of social drifting, I'd taken to wandering areas of the school that I usually hadn't. And after a time, I found out that I knew a heck of a lot more people than I thought I did. And I even struck up old friendships with people that I hadn't talked to since middle school. I would happily converse with perfectly fine people, but ultimately I'd decide that it just didn't feel right, and I'd move on to the next social clique. It was a good experience to shake me up out of my comfort zone, but in the end I just could not find what I was subconsciously looking for, and that left me kinda depressed. But at least you know what you want. That's the positive there. Always find the positive. Anyways, enter our wayward Legbeard. It was one of those days when I felt particularly bothered by this. I was slouching against a wall during break with one headphone in and just scrolling through some music when a voice spoke to me out of oblivion.
Hey, LP!
I looked up and saw Kreepy Kali standing in front of me with a stack of papers in her hands. OP, hey. Kreepy Kali,
How have you been? I haven't seen you hanging out with Maya lately. Are you guys not friends anymore?
well, I hadn't seen Kreepy Kali at all, so I vaguely wondered where she had seen me. OP, she moved. Kreepy Kali,
Oh my god, really? Why? I'm supposed to drop this off at the office. Do you want to come with me?
I don't know if it was the refreshed guilt over the summer school fiasco at the sight of her, or if my general depression had just made my brain glitch. OP, sure, if you want me to come. Kreepy Kali made idle conversation, with particular interest regarding my friends. She asked about Sean and Eric and why Maya had moved, and I explained a shortened version of all that had happened over the past few months, and she sympathized. Hindsight is a fiend. What I didn't realize at this moment of what appeared to be an innocent conversation was that I had just reopened the floodgates. I'd made her aware of my current vagabond-style social life, and she decided to fill the role that had been left empty by Maya's departure. She wasn't always able to locate me, of course, because of my ever-moving nomadic behavior, but when she did, she stuck to me like grease on a neckbeard. Fitting. It left me wondering again if she didn't have any real solid friends of her own that would wonder where the hell she had gone. I don't mind talking to her every now and then. I mean, I could handle her weirdness in doses, but I wasn't particularly interested in being her friend. With that said, being how I was back then, I didn't want to hurt her feelings. When she spot me roaming and claimed her right to follow me around, I didn't tell her to go away. And that, friends, was solidly on me. On one of these occasions, she asked me to come with her to speak to one of her friends about a class-related topic, and I complied. We walked across the feeding grounds, and when I noted what direction she was leading us in, my mind flashed back to her summer school friends. Sure enough, we were headed straight for the weird anime kids. I slowed down as we neared them, and she walked right into the shadows and up to a pale girl with dark wavy hair. I hovered at the edge where the cement ended and the dirt began. I felt like if I entered their land, some cosmic event might unfold. And so I decided that, yeah, I was close enough. They grouped in pairs of 2s and 3s, doing their thing with their unnaturally deepened tones, while some others did that squeaky anime girl voice. It was hard to tell what they were saying from a distance, but I was fairly sure that I had heard a word or two that struck me as Japanese. I watched one pair that sounded a little heated and aggressive, who then broke out in some kind of fight with invisible weapons and some swish swish sword noises. I love it. Watching their antics left me feeling like I had entered into a mix of the Twilight Zone and a very, very low budget theater. It didn't take her too long to finish, and once she rejoined me on the other side, I asked her if that was where she usually hung out. She denied it as one of the kids in the mock battle fell dramatically onto one knee and screeched deeply in pain while clutching his side, apparently having been stabbed or something. And then that kid stood back up and he's like,
Actually, you didn't get me because I have armor of blade turning.
I didn't say a word because, yeah, what happens with the weird anime kids stays with the weird anime kids. We left the area, and with the bell being close to ringing, she asked if I wanted to go get food together after school. I told her that I couldn't, using the easy lie that I had too much homework. This went on for over a month, during which she had figured out where my locker was, and that doubled her presence because she would already be there when I arrived. Suddenly, I had a lot less time to wander around the school talking to people, since she now took up most of my lunch hours during the week. She consistently requested to hang out outside of school, at least on the days that she wasn't working, and I declined her again and again. I used up a whole plethora of excuses, to the point where I had begun to feel a sense of slight guilt growing, like a case of developing Stockholm Syndrome. I felt like I owed her something for all the effort that she was making in her attempts to befriend me, as unwanted as that was, and that, coupled with my jelly heart and lack of a solid spine, had me caving one Tuesday afternoon, and finally agreeing to meet her after hours near the front of the school the next day. I cursed myself the whole way there. But I plastered on a strained smile when I saw her standing near the sidewalk waiting for me. My lips started to twitch, the way that it always did when I faked a smile, and even though it felt like a beacon on my face, it wasn't actually too noticeable to anyone else. OP. Hey. Kreepy Kali.
I forgot to ask you earlier. Is it okay if my friend hangs out with us too? He wanted to meet you.
I was bothered that she'd waited until the last minute to ask me, but shrugged it off. I mean, how bad could it be? Famous last words. OP? Yeah, sure. Kreepy Kali.
Cool! Let's go then!
She started to walk off campus, and being confused, I didn't move. OP? Shouldn't we wait for them? Kreepy Kali.
No, they don't go here. It's my coworker.
OP? Oh, alright. We made it to the parking lot, and I got a weird feeling deep in my chest as we headed straight for a black-clad figure standing awkwardly amongst the cars. He had on the full deck. The black trench coat with the collars popped up. Ooh, fancy. Fingerless black gloves, a black fedora, though this would be the only time that I ever saw him in that fedora. He had on a pair of thin, dark-tinted rectangular glasses. He was very tall, to me at least, standing at about 6 feet, and he had stubble on his chin. He was sweating a bit, probably because he was a husky lad in a big-ass coat. In 75-degree weather, but really, who knows? Not knowing what a neckbeard was at the time, I just thought he was kind of a weirdo. And since Kreepy Kali was kind of a weirdo too, I guess I just didn't question it too much. Kreepy Kali.
Hey!
Matrix Beard.
Finally. Hey.
I wondered how long he had been standing there. looking like he'd fallen out of a cheap version of the Matrix, and then he turned towards me. Matrix Beard.
So, this is the friend you've been telling me about?
Kreepy Kali.
Yeah, that's her.
Matrix Beard wiped his hand on his coat and stuck it out.
I'm Matrix Beard. It's a pleasure to meet you.
His hand was still moist. OP? Yeah, you too. I'm OP. Matrix Beard.
Yeah, I know. Did Kreepy Kali mention me at all?
OP? She, said that you guys work together? He laughed. Matrix Beard.
Yeah, it's so lame there, huh, Kreepy Kali? I do stuff like preparing the food and junk like that. It's easy. It's only a temporary job for me. But I'm a pretty good cook. All the old people there love my food.
Yes. With their shrinking taste buds and loss of a keen sense of smell, the refined tastes of the nearly departed are always a reliable critique. OP, you coming at the old people kind of hard. Chill it. I let them carry the conversation. Around 20 minutes, just nodding and fake laughing and only adding to it when I really needed to. Every time Matrix Beard tried to direct the conversation between him and I gave such bland replies that he just couldn't keep it flowing. And then he threw me a curveball. Matrix Beard.
Do you like to drink, OP?
What kind of teenager did he take me for? Of course I did. OP? Yeah, sometimes. Why? Matrix Beard.
Well, I could buy you guys some alcohol. We could all hang out at my place and have some drinks together. I'm off Friday.
Oh my god. Giant red flag. I might have been spineless, but I was not an idiot. OP? No, that's okay. I'm weird with people that I don't know that well spending money on me, and I don't really have any cash. Thanks, though. Kali piped up.
I buy it, OP.
You simple fool. Matrix Beard.
What kind do you guys want me to get?
They both looked to me. OP. I don't know. Matrix Beard.
You don't have to be shy, OP. I can get pretty much anything you want.
OP. I'm not being shy, it's just not my money. Kreepy Kali can pick whatever she likes. Kreepy Kali.
Why don't you just pick out something for us, Matrix Beard?
Matrix Beard.
Okay, I'll get something girly.
This is awful. I'm getting the major creep vibes, man. This is the kind of cringe that goes deep into your bones. It's not just like rotten food or something gross. This is like something extra foul. We parted ways soon after that, and I asked the question that had been scratching at me to come out since I had laid eyes on that beard. How old is he? Kreepy Kali, without a thought, informed me that he was in fact a 25-year-old man trying to get some fucking high school girls drunk. Bro, I'm feeling the anger start to rise. Like, just so fucking despicable, dude. I want to punch this guy. I know what he's trying to do. He knows what he's trying to do. OP even knows what he's trying to do. The only person that doesn't seems to be Kreepy Kali. Okay. OP's smart. She's gonna get out of this one. Now, I had zero intentions of drinking in a stranger's home to begin with, let alone with a grown-ass man who thought it was cool to hang out with underage girls. That only solidified my resolve, and I began racking my brain for the best tactic to get out of this situation without being overly rude. The next day, Kali asked me if I could meet her after 6th period in the student parking lot, which was at the back of the school, to help her get some quick shots for her photography class, something that I had already taken. Lo and behold, I was caught off guard when Matrix Beard, sans fedora and gloves, arrived
To hang out with us.
After Kreepy Kali had once again failed to tell me that he would be coming, he looked almost exactly the same. I wasn't even sure if he had on different clothes. The only visible difference that I could see were his beady little eyes through his now clear glasses, and his hair, which was short, black, and very flat. I assumed from frequent fedora usage. Kreepy Kali also did me dirty by abandoning me to go to work after a very short while, leaving me all alone with Matrix Beard, who, being the supreme gentleman that he was, decided that he, as a man, would escort me to the nearby McDonald's after I tried to escape his company by announcing that I was being picked up there and had to go. Dude, I'm getting like heavy Wolfbeard vibes off of this. Kreepy Kali's kind of like Miss Piggy, offering up friends as a sacrifice to the Neckbeard. Such a bad look, dude. I tried to keep some space between us on the sidewalk, but he gravitated towards me each time as he rambled on about
how excited he was for Friday, how he cleaned up his apartment for us, and even bought some snack foods.
He said he also planned to use his
culinary talents to make us food that might make you fall in love with me. Ha ha ha
ha. I was, of course, repulsed by the thought. I expected him to leave after we reached the fast food joint, but he made no move to do so. Ugh, the beards are never known for their ability to take a hint, are they? I kept my replies very short and was barely listening to him as I kept an eye out for my ride, which caused the conversation to lull. Then Matrix Beard tried to pick it back up by saying,
"So, I heard your boyfriend likes WoW. I'm pretty into that too."
OP? My what? Matrix Beard?
Your boyfriend.
OP? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a boyfriend. Oof! He was offering you a shield and you just cast it aside. Matrix Beard?
Oh, I must have remembered wrong. She was probably talking about somebody else.
By she, I knew he was referring to Kreepy Kali, although I didn't catch on then that this supposed conversation probably never happened, and that it had most likely just been a fishhook to find out if I was dating someone, and to maybe plug his hobby, something that I wasn't into to begin with. Ugh, always with the beards in the World of Warcraft. I tried to kick World of Warcraft, man. It's impossible. Call me a beard if you must. I'm playing on private servers too because I ain't giving money to Blizzard. Free Hong Kong! The conversation died out again when I offered no real response, and I spotted my dad's white car coming down the street just as the conversation turned real weird real fast. Matrix Beard?
Did you know that guys in prison carve holes into the wall so that they can put their dicks in it?
OP, no. Why do you know that? I don't think that's true at all. Fortunately, my dad's car turned the corner into the lot before I heard something that I might have had nightmares about. OP, well, my ride's here. Gotta go. There was a switch in Matrix Beard's attitude. He bid me farewell and skittered away faster than a cockroach. No doubt he didn't want a father to see him, a 25-year-old man in a trench coat, hanging around his 16-year-old daughter like a bad scene out of a movie. Ugh. The following day, I mustered up my nerve and told Kreepy Kali about the uncomfortable conversation and that I didn't want to hang out with Matrix Beard ever again. That's right, OP, take back your power. If the conversation doesn't go amicably, that's fine. I'm not going to be made uncomfortable in order to make you comfortable. Or to make a creepy 25-year-old man comfortable. Ugh, I hate it. She did accept my statement with unexpected ease, and even told me that she would still get the mystery bottle from him since she'd paid for it, and that we could just drink it at her house. She'd found a chink in the old armor. Alcohol. And this, my friends, is where I made Yet another mistake to heap upon the pile of flaming shit that had been my life choices during this story. Kreepy Kali asked for my phone number so that we could coordinate. I'm sure. After putting up with Matrix Beard the day before, I just wanted that booze. So my dumbass gave her my phone number. And now we've come to the end of part 2. One more to go. I would also ask that regarding the prison statement made by Matrix Beard, something that has sat in my mind even after all these years, if anyone can confirm or deny his claim, feel free to DM me the answer. I've been morbidly curious about its validity. Was he just talking out of his ass? It sure sounded like it, but then again, he was weird enough to probably know something as bizarre as that. Anyways, greetings to ReddX, the true king of narrations. Oh, you're too kind. And to everyone else, of course, enjoy the rest of your day. Now, I will say that carving a hole into a prison wall to put your dick inside is probably one of the more tame prison stories that I've heard. Personally, I don't buy it unless the hole is filled with like petroleum jelly or something like that. My brother's doing life in Pelican Bay and he told me about a fifi. You basically like roll up a towel or something like that, rubber band it, like stick a glove in there, lube it up and fuck the glove essentially. But even that is not the wildest thing that he told me. He told me about dudes putting like dominoes inside under their penis skin in order to make it, you know, ribbed for her pleasure. They like carve the dominoes down into little hearts and then get it under the skin, basically make an incision, some self-surgery, put it under the skin and let it heal back up. Like, is that even sterile? You know it's not. It's so horrifying. I have heard a lot of horrible prison stories, which I'm gonna stop now if I haven't already grossed you out enough. That thing with the cock rocks is wild, bro. I didn't believe it when I first heard of it. I still don't completely believe it, but I don't know if my brother would ever make something like that up. So yeah, hole in the wall? Sure, I buy it. Why not? Has this dude ever been to prison before? He should for chasing jailbait around the way that he does. Bro, this is so not okay. How much you want to bet that Matrix Beard shows up at Kreepy Kali's house? He's like,
Hey, I heard you guys were drinking.
I don't want you here. You're weird. Leave me alone. But he won't. Neckbeards never do, unless you explode. But at least that part is good, you know? Teach you to strengthen your spine just a little, OP. And I can see it. Throughout the threads of these stories, your spine is slowly strengthening, taking shape. It's a miracle to see, honestly. I hope you will continue growing in your life. Anybody who hasn't read the Wicca stories, I'll put that in the description along with part 1 of Kreepy Kali. I hope you guys will enjoy all that Legbeard cringe. Where are your parents?
Where are your parents? They're dead.
Legbeard, the saga of Kreepy Kali. Part 3, a girl and her pearls. I thought diamonds are a girl's best friend. Greetings, I'm back with the final part to wrap this story up. We left off with my mistake of giving Kreepy Kali my phone number in a quest for some fire juice acquired from the goon known only as Matrix Beard. This unfortunate decision led to Kreepy Kali obsessively calling my house to the point where my parents had dubbed her the Stalker. Yeah, I had a couple of those. Cast, OP, 16 at the time, female, noodle for a spine, unable to say how I would feel if it would hurt somebody else's feelings. Legbeard, Kreepy Kali, the tenacious one. Pearl was Kreepy Kali's mystery friend. Ash, the Allen Frog to my Edgar, the Gimli to my Legolas, the Garth to my Wayne, my lovely best friend to this day. Alright, why you gotta be Gimli though? Nobody wants to be Gimli, bro. Alex, the third amigo to my trio, Ash's high school boyfriend, and my very close friend. We begin with an encounter of the third kind. A visit from an actual friend, and not a 25-year-old man of Kreepy Kali's. Let's dive in. I'm glad she has friends around her own age. You know, that's important. You can't be hanging around 25-year-old men all the time. Where are your parents? It was a gloomy day, with dark clouds looming above, and Kreepy Kali had asked me to walk out to the student parking lot once again to aid her in obtaining some shots for her photography class. As we neared the lot, a girl who looked like a young version of a grandma waved us down. She wore a flowery dress with curled hair that was pulled back into a style reminiscent of the 1950s. She greeted Kreepy Kali, who introduced us, and we gave the obligatory highs and hellos that are customary for a first-time meeting. And after that, I didn't say a word. I was dead tired and not really much in the mood for talking. After a few minutes, her friend inquired about my silence and asked if I was okay, possibly because of the drained look that I wore on my face. I told her that, yeah, I was fine, just a little tired, and wanting to make sure that she didn't think it was her, I explained how I hadn't been sleeping that well over the last few days, and I had resorted to drinking a cap full of NyQuil to conk out and recharge my batteries. And I tell you right now, if she had pearls, she would have clutched them. Pearl, you shouldn't do that. That's like doing drugs. OP, it's cough syrup. One capful ain't gonna kill you, especially not of NyQuil. NyQuil doesn't even have codeine in it anymore. If you're drinking a cup full of lean, then we got something to talk about, but just a little sippy sip to knock out. Bro, I get that. My mom used to do that to me. When she's having a hard time with us kids, it's bedtime. She's like, okay, cap full of NyQuil, out. I haven't done it to my own children, but God, I have thought about it. Anyways, she looked at me like I had transformed into an addict right before her eyes.
Do I look like the kind of guy that would do that to a kid like you? Yes!
Looking for a fix of that grade A syrup to blow my mind into blissful slumber. It clicked into my head as to why, if her friends were all like this girl, that mine had been so unbelievably cool in Callie's eyes. Pearl, I can't believe you do that. OP, it's not a big deal. Pearl gave me the evil eye for the rest of the encounter. Maybe she was afraid of catching a budding cough syrup addiction. You gotta watch out. One cough, you could be drinking NyQuil every night. It's terrible. I don't really know. But it had certainly set the stage. Coincidentally, it was around this time that, while waiting after school to be picked up, I met a girl who I would describe very loosely as an acquaintance, kind of a friend of a friend. I knew of her enough to know her name, since we had run in the same social circles quite a few times, but I had never actually spoken to her. Bored and alone, I ventured out and struck up a conversation. Like me, she lived too far away from school to walk home, and waited over an hour due to a parent who worked late. Sucks. Well, wouldn't you know it, we got to talking, and we found that we had a startling amount of things in common. Within 30 minutes of speaking to each other, it felt like we'd been friends for a long time. That right feeling clicked, and we made plans right then and there to meet up again the next day. Same time, same place. She brought her boyfriend along, and as it turned out, I got along with him as well, and we decided to make it a regular thing. So the friend of a friend is Ash, I think. It wasn't explicitly stated, I'm just reading between the lines here. A few days later, I walked in the door after hanging out at Ash's house and was promptly informed, "Your stalker's been calling," by my extremely annoyed mother. I called Kreepy Kali up to stop her from bursting a blood vessel, and Kreepy Kali let me know that she'd obtained the contraband from Matrix Beard. With the Matrix Beard encounters now far in my mind, I'd completely forgotten about it. How long did it take that beardo to get a thing of booze? What's going on here? You could have just taken the money and run. I'd be thinking about that every day. Don't screw with my money. I'm gonna come after you. Especially in high school where you don't have that much money. Oy. Anyways, Kreepy Kali sounded so excited that I just didn't have it in me to try and back out. I told myself it was just one day, it wouldn't be so bad. So I had her make sure that it hadn't been tampered with. And although I already slightly regretted it, the board was set and the plan was made. The next Friday, I walked with her through a few neighborhoods until we made it to a cul-de-sac in which she resided. Her parents weren't home, and she wanted to drink at her house, but I told her I preferred to drink outdoors, which was true. We found a nice little secluded spot that was out of view of any of her neighbors, and she retrieved 2 cups from her home and pulled the item in question out of her bag. Drinking outdoors is pretty cool. Day drinking is also pretty cool.
This is Day Drinking Stewie, on the patrol for fatties.
I hope there's no kids listening to this. I sighed internally when I saw what it was because, of course, it was that. Matrix Beard had picked out the absolute worst drink known in existence. Butterscotch schnapps. Bruh, you couldn't get some peppermint or something? Like, basically any schnapps besides the butterscotch ones. You drink it, you feel like you're kissing your grandma. Now, I was a teenager. I'd drink what I could get my hands on at that age, and I didn't make the trip for nothing, so I tried to choke down some of the sickly sweet concoction, but I threw in the towel after 2 attempts when my stomach started to churn in response. I could handle straight vodka, but not that Oompa Loompa splooge. Oompa Loompa splooge. Oh, bro. That is evocative. I apologized to Kreepy Kali, who looked grateful when I told her that I couldn't drink it and dumped hers out as well. We stashed the bottle in some bushes like an unwanted child. Oh, you're killing me. And I attempted to make light of it by summoning my inner pastor and saying a few words over the loss.
Good night, sweet prince.
We emerged from the brush and shrubbery onto the road, with Kreepy Kali cackling in her own special way. We rounded the corner and there she was, clutching her proverbial pearls. She was still giving me the eye, and I didn't know if she lived nearby and it was purely coincidence, or if Kreepy Kali had made her privy to our plan, and she had hauled herself over from God knows where to bear witness to my corruption. But with her arms crossed, she did indeed pass her judgment. Pearl, wow, you guys are smashed. Yeah, bro, those 2 drinks really got to me. Well, that answered that. I, being disappointingly stone cold sober, denied it, but it was clear by Pearl's disapproving stare that she had no idea what a drunk person was and didn't believe it, and I really didn't care enough to try and convince her. Save your breath. She followed after us, giving off her angry Karen vibes. How is this like 15-year-old girl just a version of a grandma and a Karen? It's the funniest mental image ever. Oh, I felt her eyes burning a hole into the back of my head all the way to Kreepy Kali's house, where Pearl stiffly told Kreepy Kali that she'd see her on Monday. And she left. We went inside and I was greeted by her dogs. I'm gonna brace myself in advance because I know just how bad a Legbeard house can get. But she had 2 small Russell Terriers that she said were brothers. I pet and played with them for a minute, and then we headed up to her room. Her room was pretty plain, thank God. It was spotless and had some school-related items around. Nothing strange or wild. If anything, it was a little odd because it looked more like a guest room than a teenager's room. She turned on her laptop and played some music on iTunes, and we talked for a few minutes until she broached a subject that I would have rather avoided. Kreepy Kali.
OP, I know that you said you didn't want to hang out with Matrix Beard anymore, but he wanted me to tell you that he's sorry if he made you uncomfortable and that he didn't mean to, and if you could give him another chance, he'll make sure not to do it again. He wants to hang out at his place next weekend.
No way in hell, OP. I don't think I'd be comfortable with that, Kreepy Kali.
Why? I promise he's a good guy.
OP, I'll think about it, okay? Yeah, I'd think about it. The way that one would think about whether or not you should free dive into a septic tank. Not gonna happen. She didn't press it, thank God. And we went back to other topics until she'd asked me if I'd like some soda and some food. Hell yeah. I accepted the offer of ginger ale and a Hot Pocket. And she left to get it. Oh, Hot Pockets are second only to tendies, I tell you what. A few minutes went by and a song I didn't particularly care for came on, and I went over to her laptop to pick a different one, and I saw something peculiar. Most of the songs under the times played section were either at 0 or a very low number. I scrolled around through the music, and the only ones like that were all bands that I had mentioned that I liked, and that she had said that she also liked. Well, it's kinda nosy, OP, but I'm gonna give you a pass on this one because I feel like this girl's liable to stab you at any moment. She's like, if I can't have you, nobody can. It didn't take a rocket scientist or neckbeard scientist because they are on equal intellectual footing, honestly. For me to put 2 and 2 together. That it appeared she had lied and only recently downloaded all that music. I wouldn't have minded her just asking for recommendations, but the lying was a little much and it just didn't sit right with me. This led me to an action that I have never repeated or even felt the need to repeat since. I decided to try and confirm her lie by clicking on her browser and opening up the search history. Oh God. Okay, I can't give you a pass on this one. This is like the worst guessed action you can ever have. You want to know what's in my search history? No, you don't. You definitely don't. Talk about TMI, man. You're getting to know somebody a little bit too much. I scrolled a bit, looking specifically for the names of the bands, and sure enough, there it sat. A list of Google searches of each band and its members with things like X band's most popular songs, how many albums does X band have, and the like. I moused through, and that was when I noticed my name. Oh shit. I kept scrolling, and I saw my social media pages in a stack of links. Worse than that, it was not only just mine, but my new friends as well. Even scrolling through it as quickly as possible because I was worried she'd come back upstairs at any moment, it was massive, as if she had clicked on every single picture or post. There were brackets of other things between them, but it was clear that she had gone back to mine and their social media pages repeatedly. I utilized the search bar and saw that she had been doing this for a long, long time. Ugh. This is the part where I have to give a disclaimer about being careful about what you post online. Social media is cool. You know what I mean? It's super convenient. You can stay connected with people, but there are also people that you aren't necessarily connected with that are clicking through your stuff, basically at any point of the day. So take it seriously. Vet the things you post before you actually post them. I'm probably not the poster child for that, but it's definitely a good piece of advice. Once again, part of me feels bad for Kreepy Kali because it is like, she's just trying to make friends. She's just trying to figure out the best way to fit in. And honestly, I've researched people before on social media as well. Going out on a date with this girl, well, let's see if she has any priors. You know what I mean? You see a girl with a prior for spousal abuse or something and you're like, nope. I'm gonna pass on this date, thanks. It's a little different for friends, a little more strange, but also a little bit less serious, if you understand where I'm coming from. But is it weird? Absolutely. That is so far over the line. Although OP's breaching privacy right now too, so maybe it's just two peas in a pod. I don't mean to take shots at you, OP. You good? Like I said, she might come back upstairs with a knife right now. I guess we'll see. Feeling a little freaked out and nervous, I closed it and set iTunes back up on the screen. I heard the slam of a microwave door as I walked out of her room, and Kreepy Kali was nearing the bottom of the stairs, about to make her way up when I reached the balcony.
Excuse me, it's my favorite part.
I gave myself a brief second of focus to make sure my facial expression was somewhat normal before she joined me at the top and handed me a glass of the bubbly and a steamy Hot Pocket. OP, thanks, Kreepy Kali.
Do you want to play some games? I got an Xbox downstairs.
I wanted to leave, but that became a side thought because over her shoulder, I saw her two terriers wiggling around in a mass on the floor downstairs. Are your dogs fighting or something? I leaned over the railing to get a better view. Out of all the weird shit that I've ever seen in my life, nothing quite made me question reality more than the sight that was sitting before my very own eyes. Oh no, they were not fighting. No. What they were doing was moving around on the floor, aggressively licking each other's dongs. Oh, God. And they're brothers. Jesus, dude. I've been around dogs my whole life. I've never seen anything like that. What the hell? All I could say is nope, 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 nope. I took that as a message from some divine being to just get the hell out of Dodge. And after she had yelled at them to get them to stop, I downed my drink, made my excuses and apologies, and left. I hauled it back to school, bummed a cell phone off a straggler, and tried to call my dad and asked if he could come and get me. I decided that night that I was done, that it was just all too unsettling. Nothing about her had been normal. Nothing about her friends had been normal. Her incest dogs definitely had not been normal. Quite simply, she just wasn't a type of weird that I could deal with anymore. My gut said run, so I was gonna do just that. All the while, my budding friendship with Ash and Alex had been blossoming like we'd been given Miracle-Gro. I knew that I couldn't actively avoid Kreepy Kali, mainly because I still had no fucking clue where she hung out or who she hung out with, besides Pearl. Luckily for me, the place that my little trio commandeered was mostly out of sight of the feeding grounds, dubbed the Zeppelin Wall, due to a mural, and that offered me a safety net from running into her too often, though I would come home to a pissed-off mother pretty frequently from her incessant phone calls. But I ignored them. Couldn't you block the number? Call a phone company, be like, hey, don't let them call me no more. I felt bad about it despite everything, but ignore it and maybe it will go away was the only way that I could manage to tell people to leave me alone, since I didn't actually have the balls to just go up to someone and tell them, go the fuck away because I know you're cyber stalking me and my friends. You don't gotta go that over the top with it. You could just be like, well, I don't see our friendship working out. I don't really want to be friends with you. And then comes the why. I guess it's gonna come to that anyways. But if you're gonna make that statement, don't give them both barrels at the start, you know? Make it a conversation. Explain why it's creepy. I mean, you shouldn't really have to, but I have no idea what her parents are like. They could be total nut jobs despite having a clean house, so Kreepy Kali is definitely a hard one to pin down. I'm not sure what to make of it all. It wasn't until about 3 weeks in, while I was talking with Ash, that Kreepy Kali materialized, seemingly from another dimension. Kreepy Kali.
Hey, Opie, where have you been?
I was so startled by her sudden appearance that all I did was stumble over a return greeting. Hey, She looked at Ash and stuck her finger 2 inches from her face and said,
I've seen you before.
I knew exactly where she had seen her before. I tried to laugh it off and pulled her hand down. Yeah, you know it's rude to point. Ash was giving me a, what the fuck Is this her? Kind of look, and I gave back a yep. Fortunately, the bell was close to ringing, so she didn't stick around for very long. After that day, we decided to just walk around the school at lunch, far from the feeding grounds. A tactic that ended up working like a charm. I also used Ash's locker instead of mine. Bro, this is like next level avoidance. Strawberry Belle from the story we did yesterday. Are you listening? Are you taking notes on this? Use somebody else's locker. That's ingenious. It shouldn't come to that, but it is ingenious. I only ran into Kreepy Kali a few times by chance, and never with enough time to accidentally allow her to just leech on to me ever again. Over the course of the rest of the school year, her calls finally began to dwindle and then slowed to a halt. Since it was her senior year, she wouldn't be returning, and there would only be one more time that I would ever see Kreepy Kali again. It was months and months later. I was walking with some friends down the side of the road when my name was screamed from a car that was driving by. I only had a few seconds to glance over and see Kreepy Kali hanging out of the window of a truck before it was gone. Was she being kidnapped? My friend asked me, "Who was that?" And I answered, "No idea." We have reached the end, officially, of the Kreepy Kali saga. It's been interesting dredging these stories back up in my mind, and for the few people that I've told these stories to in the past, to see them fully fleshed out in detail instead of just my usual quick verbal retelling. And as seemed to be my luck back then, as one beard left, another would enter with the start of a new school year and a new set of classes. Uh-oh. So I have one more story left to go relating to beards, this time a neckbeard. And then I'm tapped. I'll get around to it eventually. Oh, thank God. You have brought such joy and laughter to us. I'm glad it's not over quite yet. Warm and friendly greetings to ReddX, and to everyone else, enjoy the rest of your day. So, Kreepy Kali probably goes on like the lowest rung of the neckbeard tier list. She's not exceedingly horrible as a legbeard as far as they go. She just kind of doesn't really know how to interact with people or draw boundaries. But it still is invasive. It still is beard-like behavior, so we gotta peg her as a legbeard. You know what I mean? No self-awareness, no self-improvement. And I do find it unfortunate that OP didn't have the spine to step up and be like, look, here's what's wrong. You can change this and we can be friends, or you can continue on your way without me. Because that's really the only way to save a beard from themselves, you know? Is just to give them a spark of reality, a bit of realization, and then they go, wow, is that really how people see me? And slowly, they might start to turn it around. Kreepy Kali is probably creeping on some other people, wherever that truck kidnapped her off to. I know she probably wasn't actually kidnapped. I probably shouldn't even joke about kidnapping, but doesn't that make the story funnier? It does to me, because my sense of humor is sick, and that's why I dig through beard stories basically every single day of the week. But I mostly do it for you guys, you know. If you appreciate the cringe, I hope that you'll like, comment, and or subscribe on the video. Maybe share this one around, or rather the first part of this one. Eventually I will compile them all together, but I want to wait a good long time, just so people who have forgotten about it can be reeled back in, and the views don't suffer, because the algorithm doesn't like it when videos don't get good views, you know? And if you're gonna play YouTube for reals, you gotta bend over backwards for the algorithm. So thank you guys for boosting my rating, getting my channel out there. I just had somebody hit me up on Twitter today. They're like, oh, I was watching D&D horror stories and your channel popped up as a suggestion. Yes, the expansion is working, bro. I knew dipping into RPG horror stories was not a dumb idea. It's definitely beard adjacent. There's a gigantic audience, and most of the storytellers in that genre are super serious, which I am super not. So hopefully I can, get my thumb in there, make a dent at the very least. But you all know that I will keep those beard stories coming. Wow, that was a tangent too. I'm really off on it today. Anyways, I hope you check out the links in the description. My personal subreddit, r/ReddX is where this saga was posted. We've also got the Teespring if you're looking to rock the merch. My Amazon affiliate link. If you're going to buy something on Amazon, please do it through that link. And then you can like break me off a little bit, which is super sweet. And we also got Wifey's channel, Mr. and Mrs. ReddX. We're mostly doing Praying Mantis over there. We did Creepy Asterisks yesterday. I hope you'll check that out. And of course, there's the social media, which I warned you guys about in this story. We got the Discord, the Twitter, the Facebook. Oh, and how could I almost forget my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons? Yes, indeed. You're seeing some names on the screen right now, and I would like to thank them all. But specifically, Zero MMX, Lady Nix, Robert Waits, Pope Squid, Rebecca H, Cider Drinker, Tato Ferret, The Last Shinobi, Mark 211, Michael Undead, Aaron W, Mitch, John Hero, Candy Sora, DigiNZ, Fire Drake, Little Lone Wolf, Ms. Monday, Silent Revolver, JM Coon, Leon Embers, TSM Kirby, Redwind, Synaptic Boomstick, Jerry, Staples, Yeet, and Davindra. I definitely appreciate you guys helping out the channel, supporting in any way possible, because demonetization does happen from time to time. We get into a little bit of edgier content over here, so the less I have to sweat it, the better. Eventually, I hope we'll be freed completely from like needing to worry about monetization, and then I can make videos on whatever I want, as long as it's within community guidelines. There's just always something, isn't there? Anyways, if anybody else can support, I hope that you will. It is massively appreciated, helps us out so much, and I thank you very much in advance. But if you can't, don't sweat it too hard. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope you'll come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. Because really, the views is how my beard stays so buttered. Keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today, like watching some more ReddX videos. Hey, that's so good. I love that idea. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I will see you in the next one. And until then, bye-bye.